So hey guys, welcome back to another video of Industrialist, and in this video I will be teaching you how to operate the Mineshaft Drill. As you can see, it is working right here. You need this for running the coal power plant. You need the coal from this, so that is why this is a must. And well, yeah, so let's start with it first. And first I'm going to tell you how much stuff that you have to research. As you can see, you need to research a lot for this. You need the Foundry here, which is very expensive. You need Mineshaft Drill. You need the blast furnace MK2, you need the electrolysis plant. You need a whole lot of stuff for this, and that's why it's rather hard actually to make this. You also need a lot of power for making this, and you need a lot of power to make more power from the coal power plant. And so you need, this is a must to make, because those coal drills are not efficient enough to run the coal power plant. So let's get on with this video first. Let's move on to the power requirement stage of this video, the power requirements timestamp. For that we need a lot of power. For running this we need a lot of power. As you can see, 50 mmf. We need the power for running this Foundry whole thing. As you can see, it's working. You need a lot of power for this, and as you can see, I still don't have enough, even though I will show you the setup first. First I'm going to show you how much power you need for running this. As you can see, you need a lot of stuff for this. You need this lathe, which is 130 mmf storage requirement, and it's very expensive, it's very power heavy, and you need a lot of power for making this whole setup. And well, it's really complex, to be honest, for making this, because well, the power requirement is very hard. That's why. And as you can see, this huge pole, this HV pole, let's follow it along to our setup, the power setup. Let's go. So as you can see, we are just going there, and this is a gas burner setup. We have two of them. As you can see, 4 gas burners, and these two setups are working to run that whole thing there. So as you can see, I almost have 14 boilers, not 14 but 19 boilers and 19 steam turbines running that whole humongous thing, that humongous power heavy stuff. So that's why you need a lot of power for this, and I'm going to make a tutorial on this, to how to make this setup. And well, it's very easy actually, but a lot of spamming is required for making this, and that's the whole thing in this whole tutorial. So you need a lot of power. I have added 19 boilers, which are producing almost 10 to 15 mmf per second. 10 to 15, let me write in the chat first. I hope that most people don't misinterpret that. 10 to 15 mmf per second. As you can see, this produces that much power. It may produce more, I have not calculated that, but well, you need 19 boilers. Like, at least you at least need 19 boilers running with gas burners in order to make this whole setup. So yeah, this is the power requirement right here. A lot of power is required to make that whole setup run, and this is the best method in order to run that, because this is like a whole infinite contraption that I've made, because it extracts raw gas first, condenses it, and then refines it into refined gas, and then we need water, and then it makes water, then hot water, and then steam, and then power. So that's the whole thing. This is a simple enough setup, and that's the whole thing. So let's move on to how to start the mineshaft process first, how to start making it. And it's a whole recipe heavy stuff I'm going to show you. So we are going to first start treated or raw iron. With treated or raw iron, we need to make treated raw iron, and we are going to make steel drills for making this whole setup. As you can see, a lot of iron drills are there, and I'm going to make treated raw iron. Let me show you what it is. This is the treated raw iron. It requires hydrochloric acid to make treated this whole metal, and the benefit of this is that 400 of that makes 1000 iron ingots. If you see the iron ingots, and if you make with that the raw ingots with the raw iron, let me show you, it requires 2000 of that to make 1000 ingots. So this is very better, because it consumes 5 times less iron, and it makes the same amount of steel ingots, and that is why this is the best. So that's why I'm going to make hydrochloric acid in this. So let me show you how to make hydrochloric acid. So first let's go to the recipes tab and see how to make it. Hydrochloric acid. So as you can see, we need chlorine and oxygen, fluorine and hydrogen, and distilled water in order to make hydrochloric acid. So basically, if you do not know chemistry, there is a HCl. It is known as HCl, and hydrogen and chlorine. It has two atoms. It has two atoms basically, of one atom of hydrogen and one atom of chlorine. So that's what we need to make this whole acid. So we need chlorine and we need hydrogen. So first let's make hydrogen. For making hydrogen, it's simple. Let's just pass electricity across water in order to make oxygen and hydrogen. This is the whole contraption here. We need just two water pumps, or one water pump's amount of water in this electrolysis plant, and a lot of power. You need a lot of power for this because this is a high voltage power input, and that is why you need to use an HV pole for this. And obviously you need to unlock the HV pole. If you know what I'm talking about, you need to unlock, let me just find it. You need to unlock this HV battery MK2. You need to unlock this HV tower pole, 300,000 RP, which is a lot, and that is why you need a lot of RP, a lot of research points for making this whole factory. So you need this. This is compulsory because there is a lot of HV transfer. There's a lot of high voltage input, as you can see. So you need a lot of power along with these HV poles. So yeah, so you need this in order to make oxygen and hydrogen. Simple as that. This hydrogen, and then the hydrogen goes into an atmospheric distillation plant. This hydrogen goes right here. Let me just revise the recipe first. So I did it, and you need chlorine actually. So for that you need concentrated salt solution, and that is another thing. So for that you need to get the water, simple water, into the atmospheric distillation plant. Let me just show you this concentrated salt solution. You need it in the atmospheric distillation plant. 200x water gives 64x concentrated solution and 136x distilled water. As you can see, 200 water gives 64 salt solution and 136 distilled water in atmospheric distillation plant. You need this concentrated solution in order to salt solution in order to make chlorine, which is NaCl actually. So sodium hydroxide solution and chlorine. So let's go to the electrolysis plant for this one. You need another electrolysis plant for this. So concentrated salt solution goes right here, and it gives you sodium hydroxide solution along with a chlorine. Now you need to transfer the distilled water from this thing. As you can see, it also gives distilled water, so you can just transfer the distilled water from here to right here. I have added a silo so that this factory works. You should also add a silo because, well, this factory stops if distilled water accumulates in the atmospheric distillation plant, and that is why just add a silo here and just connect it to this node, distilled water. Well, these three nodes, you can connect any material to this and it still makes the same thing. So I have added chlorine here, the distilled water goes here, and hydrogen goes here. And now for those people who are asking me to do the pipeline, well, you guys have to do the pipelining by yourself, because as you can see, my factory layout is different and your factory layout may also be different, because this whole stuff is made with very less space, because, well, I did not plan it, and that's the whole thing which led to this whole pipelining stuff. Although it works, it is very hard to do the pipelining. So that is why you should make this whole farm in just basically a clear ground. That's the whole thing. So make sure to make this in a clear ground, in a clear space. So let's get back onto the hydrochloric acid. So the hydrogen goes right here, the chlorine goes right here, and distilled water goes right here. So power, and voila, you get hydrochloric acid. Alright, and now you need raw iron, and now there's a lot of iron drills right here. So I recommend you to use at least 30 iron drills in order to get the raw iron for making this. 30 iron drills are enough for this. Well, I have almost 37 of them, 38 of them. So yeah, you can add 30 of them, or you can just add a lot of them like me. So as you can see, I have done section spamming, which is well, it just makes stuff easier, so that's why I did it. And as you can see, all the raw iron goes right here, and along with the hydrochloric acid. So now you need to provide it power and it provides you residue. Let me just show you. Treated raw iron. So hydrochloric acid plus treated raw iron is equals to treated raw iron plus residue. So you need this. it goes into the foundry. Now this thing is a powerhouse. It requires a whole lot of power, and well, that's the whole thing. That's why you need a lot of power for this one, for the setup. So this requires a lot of stuff. Let's move on to this. Let's move on to the foundry part of this video. So basically, foundry is this machine, this whole big machine thing that works like this, and it pours the raw iron into this, the melted iron into this, and it forms a lot of iron ingots from this. So it's basically a very big upgraded version of the iron ingot molder. So it's of 2 million, and well, it just converts treated stuff or normal stuff into iron ingots. That's the whole thing. So it requires a lot of time in order to make this, and we need the iron ingots first in order to make steel. I will show you that. So for that we need coke fuel and we need treated raw iron. So we already have treated raw iron, as you can see. We already made that. Now we need the coke fuel and water. You need the water, you need a lot of water. So I must say that you need at least 6 to 7 water pumps for running this, and you need the coke fuel. So let's see how to make coke fuel. So coke fuel is basically trees plus coal. That's the whole thing. It's trees plus coal, and well, we are going to make the blast furnace MK2 for this one because it produces a lot of coke fuel, and we are going to use coke fuel in another process. Let me just show you how to make it. You need a tree farm. Obviously it's very easy to make one. Just add trees, a tree harvester, a tree farm controller. Let me just find it. This HUD thing just provided power, and this harvester will automatically work. You need this water pump which gives water and to these sprinklers, and these sprinklers work automatically. These tree farm controllers, and well, just these trees should be in the range, and there should be an output. As you can see, the trees gets output into this one, into these oak logs. So that's the whole thing. So you need a pretty big tree farm for this one, almost as big as mine, and just input it into a blast furnace MK2. Now what is a blast furnace MK2? It's a new stuff in tier 4. Blast furnace MK2. It is not here. Why is it not here? Let me just find it. Blast furnace MK2. Okay, it is in the tier 3. Okay, sorry. So it is of 5 million, and well, it just makes a lot of coke fuel and it makes steel ingots. So we are going to use this to make steel ingots and also to make coke fuel. So the coal goes here. You need a lot of coal for this one. As you can see, a lot of coal drills, and you need a lot of oak logs. So you can add like 10 coal drills for making this. The coal drills pile up over time. As you can see, most of them are not working. Almost 2 or 3 of them are working. So just add 10 of them and it will work. You need oak logs. As you can see, we are getting oak logs already from this tree farm. So make this tree farm, and that's it. Just provide it with power. It requires a lot of power actually, so make sure to provide it with power and it works. This outputs coke fuel, and the coke fuel goes right into the foundry, and that's the whole thing. Treated raw iron, coke fuel and water gives you the iron ingots. As you can see, it is working. Let's see the animation. It's really cool actually. So it just pours the molten raw iron into this, and it forms a lot of ingots. You can see the whole progress of this. As you can see, there are 2 hole of this stuff. I don't know what it is called, but we have these 2 stuff. We have these 2 buckets of iron, and it just melts, and you can see the progress here. As you can see, it turned now 0% because all the iron was poured into this, and obviously I can stand on this. So it produces a lot of iron, raw iron, about 1000 iron ingots for 2 buckets. And well, actually in one process, in one of this cycle of this bucket pouring into this and then making these ingots, it produces 500 iron ingots. And that's the whole thing right here. This is how the foundry works. Now the most crucial part for this video is the steel ingots for making the steel drill. As you can see, it is working, right? So let's move on to the steel ingots part. So now these steel ingots, as you can see, it requires coke fuel along with iron ingots. Let me just show you. Blast furnace MK2. It requires 50 coke fuel plus iron ingot. Now, why do I recommend coke fuel instead of coal? Well, we actually already made coke fuel in this whole stuff. As you can see, we are making coke fuel from this. So I just directly connected this coke fuel to the another blast furnace, as you can see. So basically one blast furnace is making for another blast furnace and for the foundry. So that is why I use coke fuel, and also it just requires 50 of them and coal is 300. So just use coke fuel, it's much better. And also do not use the blast furnace, single blast furnaces. Always use blast furnace MK2 because it obviously saves up on space and also it saves up on time. As you can see, if you just spam 5 to 6 blast furnaces, it is not that efficient, but this is very efficient. So 100 iron ingots plus 50 coke fuel gives you about 300 steel ingots. That is the plus point of this. So the iron ingots go right here and just supply it power, and then it gives you steel ingots. So this was the short part of this video, and now let's move on to the main part, which is the drill, for making the drill. So yeah, let's move on to that, which is the steel drill head. It's very expensive, about 200,000 for one, and it requires 3,500 steel ingots for making one steel drill head in 200 seconds in the lathe. So let me just show you the lathe. This is the lathe. It looks kind of like, okay, so let's just search for it. Lathe, this is the lathe. It requires 5 million, and well, if you see the power input you might get shocked because 130 mmf is a lot, but it requires very less power to run actually, because it just requires 500 kmf per second. So it's not that high, it's not that high, but still you need a lot of power. I know I'm repeating it a lot, but well, you need a lot of power. So just 3,500 steel ingots, and then it starts its animation for making the steel ingots. The steel drill, it requires 200 seconds to make one steel drill head. Oh my god, steel drill head. So that's the thing. So basically this just goes into the mineshaft drill, and well, the mineshaft drill. So well, let's move on to the mineshaft drill part. So mineshaft drill, it requires 1 million for placing this, and this is the thing. I don't know what this range is for, but well, you can just place it anywhere you want. And okay, this range is for the ore nodes part. Well, we are on the normal difficulty, so do not use this range, does not matter actually. So if you go here, as you can see, the steel drill head goes right here, and well, if we see, we can see how much the materials it mines based on the depth. And there's a variety of heads that we can use: copper, iron, steel, and tungsten carbide. Tungsten carbide is actually bad because, well, we need another mineshaft drill for that. So instead of using that, you can use steel drill. It is much easier to make, and it is the best actually. And it also requires acids. Well, I'm using water here because there's no space. There's absolutely no space for adding the acid, and that is why I recommend you to use sulfuric acid. Sulfuric is an F. So sulfuric acid right here. You need the sulfuric acid in order to run this, and basically the acid decreases the durability loss of the drill. If you do not know what I mean, let's go up, and as you can see, it shows the depth, it shows the durability of the drill, it shows what we are mining, it shows that at what depth we are, and that's the whole stuff. As you can see, it is mining coal 20 per second or 22 per second, gravel or iron, and shallow earth fragment. We need the coal only, so we are just doing this. The coal goes, well, as you can see, these are the 4 outputs. These vary. For 1200 depth, the coal travels from this, and the raw iron travels from this. Let me just see. Oops, sorry. This is the gravel part actually. It is very hard to remember. So this is the gravel, this is the raw iron, and this is the shallow earth fragment. You can use this to make more stuff. If you just search for it, shallow earth fragment, we obtain it about 1000 to 3000 meters depth. Well, I will just show you how much depth is there and what stuff we obtain. It is on the Wikipedia actually. So as you can see, we can just use the sulfuric acid along with shallow earth fragment to make bauxite residue. It's not that much required, but Still you can use it for that. You can make rock for this. From this you can use raw iron from this. Already you are getting raw iron, so I don't know why you want to make this. And I recommend you to store this, but you can also use it. You can also use the raw iron, so well, it's your choice. So now the most complex part of this video is the depth part, because well, there are a lot of depths in this game and you need a lot of information about that and a lot of trial and error to figure out which depth is the best for your setup. For my setup, it is the best depth is 1200 depth, because durability loss is less and it mines coal very steadily. As you can see, 20 per second coal is not that bad. The main thing is it is consistent, and that's the thing we need. So let's just see the Wikipedia for that and let's get enlightened by that. So as you can see, now we are on the Wikipedia right here, and we can see the Mineshaft Drill. And yeah, you need to see the Wikipedia for a lot of information, and I recommend you to use it. So this is the Mineshaft Drill, price and size and stuff like that, but main thing is this: durability loss, durability multiplier per depth. Well, this is all maths. You can just use ChatGPT to get the stuff out of it. Now this is the main thing here. So 300 to 2000 meter, to 2200 to 3000, 3200 to 4000, and to 8000. So let's see. So at 300 meter it gets stuff like this, and what I'm mining is this one. It gives 20 coal per second, it gives gravel 6 per second, it gives raw iron 10 per second, it gives shallow earth fragment 3 per second. And well, we need the coal, so we are at this depth, and this all information is legit. This all information is legit, so that is why you should trust on this. 2200 to 3000. As you can see, we do not require this depth, and this depth is also not that required. And sorry for the disturbance. Now let's move on. So as you can see, this depth is actually useful to us, because at 3800 meter it gives us 30.4 coal per second. And well, you might say this is the best depth, but it's not, because well, durability loss is very high, it requires a lot of power, and it also requires a lot of time. As you can see here, 3.1 mmf and 1 second increases with each increasing depth, as you can see. And that is the whole thing why I do not use this depth. So if you move on to this, it gives 30 coal per second. It's not good. Now let's move on much deeper. So medium earth fragment coal, it gives 40 coal per second at 4200 meter. If you have a good setup, then you can use this depth, because this is the best depth, but I still do not recommend it because durability loss is very high. Like if you move on back to the game, if you move on to the depth, as you can see, the whole depth is 6000. I have mined till 6000, and let's go deeper. So let's move on to 4200 first. You just need to plus depth, and the target depth increases. So the target depth should be 4200 right here. 4200 right here. It is 4200. Now it's moving down, as you can see, slowly. Till then, let's just see the other depths. So as you can see right here, there is coal at 40.2 second, 2 per second at 4400 meter, and also you get a lot of stuff, but these are not much required. It gives you zinc. It's not of much use right now, and that's the whole thing. Lead is used for tetraethyl lead, zinc is used for zinc ingots and stuff. So well, it's not that required, and these depths are useless, to be honest. Now let's move on to the more deeper and deep earth fragment. This is useful because if you move back to the game, let me just show you the deep earth fragment. This is the thing. So basically you get 18 karat gold from this. This is very useful actually, because hydrochloric acid plus deep earth fragment, it gives bauxite residue and 18 karat gold. So this is useful, but well, it requires a lot of depth and a good setup. As you can see, at 4200 this durability loss of almost 1%, and it gives us 40 coal per second. It's not that useful because now this drill has to come up. As you can see, it has worn out. It has to come up, and well, this cycle continues. it just lasts for about 100 seconds. If you have an acid, it might last more for you, but 100 seconds or 200 seconds is not that good. So that is why 1200 depth is much better, and that is why I use it. So let's just turn it back to 1200 meter. So that's it. So yeah, so now as you can see, the most coal that you get at a depth is the coal at 6000 meter, which is 54 per second. You might say this is the best depth, but it is not, because you need a very good setup, a tungsten carbide setup along with sulfuric acid in order to get this. So that's the thing. And actually I missed a thing that oops, sorry, I forgot to show this, but 54 per second, as you can see. So yeah, now let me just show you what I forgot to mention that about machine oil and water. So well, sulfuric acid goes right here. Sulfuric acid is much better. How to make sulfuric acid? It's in the description actually, so make sure to watch the video. Machine oil. So this is the most this is another important thing, because well, this machine oil is required to get more stuff out of the same depth, and this leads to more durability loss actually, but you need machine oil for making this. So that's the whole thing. If you go machine oil and this stuff, it's basically, we are going to use industrial oil separator for this one. Heavy oil plus steam it gives us machine oil and light oil. Let me just show you the small factory of it. So basically this is the factory for the machine oil. As you can see, coal liquefaction plant, it gives us heavy oil. Let me just show you heavy oil. So to make heavy oil, we are using the coal liquefaction plant. Just let me just show you it. This is the coal liquefaction plant. As you can see, it requires coal plus crude oil plus steam. It gives us heavy oil and light oil. So we need the heavy oil. So just, oh my god, this Roblox thing, man. So basically this is the heavy oil, and this heavy oil goes right here along with steam. So steam is from another boiler, as you can see. Just you can just make that whole setup, and steam along with heavy oil, it gives us machine oil along with light oil and residue. That's a simple machine, right? And well, I'm using it for my microchips along with the Mineshaft Drill. So this machine oil is also good if you are mining at a lower depth, because it gets to more durability loss actually. So that's why I recommend you to only use it for lower depths. So yeah, machine oil, and that's the whole thing, and that's pretty much it. As you can see, the stuff, well, the inputs change for change in depth. Okay, I forgot to actually show you other depths. Let me just show you. So right here at beyond 6000 depth, there's copper, there's deep earth fragment, there's copper actually, just copper. And if we move on more deeper, we can see the other stuff, like at 8000, well, actually deep earth fragment is used to get gold only. So that's the whole thing, that's the whole point of mining beyond 6000 meter, and I do not recommend doing that. So don't do that, man. Gold is not that required right now. You can just get the gold from rich soil and trommel stuff. So yeah, so that's the whole thing, man. And this tutorial was a long one actually, because it's a complex process. If I wanted to build it in one video, I could not, because it is a very complicated process, because it requires a lot of pipeline stuff. As you can see, this whole stuff, man, see these pipelines, and it was very hard to make these pipelines. So make sure to make the whole factory in a clear space, man. I repeat it, in a clear space, because it then poses a lot of problem. And obviously plan your structure. Well, everyone's world is different, everyone's requirements are different, so that is why you should plan your structure first before making it. As you can see, I just made it work in a good planned way so that it works. But well, there was a lot of chances that this would not work, because these pipelines are very hard to place, and that's the whole thing. And well, I again repeat that make sure to get a lot of power for this one, because well, power is much required. And yeah, that's the whole thing. And well, it is a really fun tutorial, and it's a really fun factory actually, because well, it's easy to make, but at the same time it's complicated because of the power stuff, and that's the whole thing. I make sure to cover up every point that I could, and if I miss something, man, make sure to comment it, and I will make sure to give a solution for that in the pin comment that I will just post for your questions or for stuff that I missed. So that's the thing. So yeah, thanks guys. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you like the content, and well, if you do not like the Foundry animation, if you like the Foundry animation, make sure to like the video, because man, it is really cool. And yeah, also if I missed something, man, make sure to comment it, because I feel bad then. So yeah, so now I will be giving a shout out to my fellow member. So guys, this guy Bilal, actually he is a member of my channel and he's a very good helper. He helped me to make the coal power plant. He helped me in the Discord server. He is the moderator actually of the Discord server, and now he's the admin. He helped me in a lot of ways that, well, yeah, he helped me a lot. So that is why I'm going to give him a shout out, and this is his username. So make sure to friend him, make sure to establish a connection with him, if we call it that way. So I have linked the ID of his YouTube channel in the description. Make sure to just subscribe to his channel, although he does not post much content, but make sure to subscribe, because this guy has helped me a lot to make these videos, to moderate in my Discord server, and that's why make sure to show him some support. Thanks guys for watching, and make sure to become a member of the channel, and we will be doing these shoutouts like these shoutouts daily and like in every of my videos. So yeah, make sure to become a member, and yeah, thanks guys for watching. Peace out.